Thank you for being here. We are so privileged and honored to be highlighting Phil Dugas. He's an amazing, extraordinary, exemplary human being and leader in the community. He is a oneness Diksha trainer extraordinaire. He's been to India several times. He'll probably tell you how many. I've lost count. He is a life mastery consultant and coach, and he is also a facilitator of the work of Byron Katie and a coach with the work of Byron Katie. So let's all give Phil Dugas a warm and gracious welcome.
Thanks, Bonnie. I'm so excited to be here and to really share stuff that the reason why I do these things is because I've had a personal experience of how it's transformed my own life. And since we're all so much alike in so many ways, there is a strong correlation of what transforms one person is likely going to transform another. So that's why I do what I do. And I love sharing this information with other people because I know that ultimately as we move into what our life purpose is, and I kind of take Eckhart Tolle's approach to what our life purpose is, which is to wake up. It's very simple. And for me, this is my path in my process of waking up, and it seems to resonate with a lot of other people. And to be clear, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And a lot of what we do is teach people how to move into their center so that they can get in touch with what that is for them. Because none of us can dictate what that is for another person. So I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much for being here. And I have known this man for so many years, and he walks his talk. He is so vigilantly committed to waking up and that process of that ever-expanding process of waking up and helping other people to wake up. He has so many credentials and so much training and so much education and experience that to just know him and to be with him and to have him as a coach, you would be extremely blessed. And I have some questions for you, Phil.
Hit me.
All righty. Well, I know that you and Diane Christensen, because you are both my very dear best friends, you've been working on a facility called the Lighthouse. And it's a very exciting center, and it's going to be up in the mountains. And I'd like you to describe what stage you are in that process.
Well, the Lighthouse is an evolving manifestation of a bunch of people's efforts of bringing together all the most powerful modalities on the planet today to support people's individual transformation. And so just like the Lighthouse of old, that's been around for thousands of years, it's a facility that in older times is a big structure with a light on top that helps seafarers find their way when they're lost. And it's got a huge beacon of light that goes around 7 seconds. And I find it interesting that is the 7 second they use to put that light all the way around. And that's kind of what we are, is we're a beacon of light for people that are ready to step into a bigger, more freer, fuller version of themselves.
Fabulous. I'm excited about it. And I love that analogy of you spreading. And I see the lighthouse spreading out, that light spreading out all through the planet, reaching out as an international center.
Yes.
Is that correct, what you have in mind?
Yeah, that's our intention. And we have some really amazing people that are working with us on this. The stage we're at right now is that we've already been approved for the loan. We have a realtor that we're working with, and I would suspect within the next few months we'll actually have the land. And as a licensed general contractor, I can actually build the thing myself if I wanted, but I'm actually going to enroll a lot of help to create that. So once we get the land, we don't have to waste any time with that. We want to put a yurt on right away so we can start having workshops up there that are going to involve yoga. Of course, Diane Christensen is going to be heading that up because she's the yogini. And we're going to have other activities up there that are going to support people in moving into a lot of the blocks and barriers that we as human beings get tangled up in. And so I'm very excited about having that happen this year. And then within the next couple of years, hopefully next year, we'll actually have the physical structure.
I'm so excited. And as Phil Dugas is so committed to the spiritual path, he's been on it for a long, long time. and disciplined, committed. He does his work. He has a spiritual practice. He shares that with Diane Christensen, and you're just always, you live your message. You are the embodiment of your message. And I know you have been working with Mary Morrissey for many, many years. You always go to the highest advanced levels of everything, Phil Dugas. I know that. You are a driven person. And I know you with the Diksha, you've been to the highest levels of Diksha as a trainer and going through the higher trainings, the highest they have. Whatever there is, if it's the highest thing, he goes. So he's been in the most highest extensive programs with Mary Morrissey, and he continues it. It's an ongoing work, and you've been doing that for a few years now, and I'd like you to describe a little bit about that, and maybe even tell us a little bit about the book you're writing that's in conjunction with some of the things you've learned with Mary Morrissey.
Sure. Life Mastery Institute is an organization that I found is the pinnacle of transformation in the area of shifting our paradigms, our belief systems, because really everything originates in how we think. And so we all have an operating system we come from. And so I've been very committed to getting new downloaded information in my biocomputer brain so that I can support what I'm about in my life. And there's no better testimony of how something works than actually showing by example and having it work for you. And so as a life mastery consultant and life coach, it's a real honor for me to be in a position to share this thinking technology with other people, because that's essentially what it is. It's a thinking technology that really allows us to step out of the patterned responses, the conditioned responses that we come to life from. And what was your other question?
Your book?
Oh, the book. That actually is evolved into the yoga of financial abundance, which is actually taking a lot of the ideas of yoga, the asana, the practice, and focusing on the practice of what we need to do for ourselves in order to be more in harmony with the different laws in the universe that are there. And a lot of us aren't even aware of some of the laws. A good example of a law that I've really taken to heart is the law of reciprocity. And the law of reciprocity is also referred to as tithing. Ever since I started working with Mary Morrissey 2 years ago, I took that to heart, that, in order for me to get out of my paradigm of thinking I need to hold on to money and grasp onto it hard, that it is a much better, more powerful, in harmony way to be by giving away 10% of everything I make. And so I've been doing that for 2 years now. And what's interesting about the results of that is the 90% I keep is so much more than the 100% I used to hold on to. And so through practicing these different things and getting those kind of results, I get to step more into having faith that they really do work because I see evidence of it. Mm-hmm. And so this book is actually going to be talking about all the different things that we can do in the form of a practice to get very specific, provable, predictable results in the area of our finances. And then, when we get into moving into money freedom, where we have enough money, then we can be less stressed in dealing with the patterns that we're so enmeshed in, and step out and give the gift that we've come to give the world. Mm-hmm. And I see every single human being on the planet as having a specific gift that they've come to give the world. In that if you do nothing else in your life but give that gift, then you've had a successful life. And if you have the biggest success in life in all the other areas and don't give your gift, then you've missed the boat. And so this is about really helping people move into a fuller awareness of what their gift is so that they can bless all of us with it. Because this planet would be transformed if everybody had that simple concept in place of where they just came here to give what they were supposed to in the most empowered way they can. And we'd have a transformed planet. And so that's what this book is about, is moving people from where they're at, supporting them and bridging the gap from where they want to be, and then allowing these different, being in harmony with the laws that we talk about that oftentimes we're not aware of, allow that to move them into where they're supposed to go. Because this is not so much getting anything, it's more allowing the universe to work with us in a way that it literally conspires us for our highest good, whether we know it or not. Even the most challenging situation people are dealing with. You know, in my case, I had to get a few spiritual 2x4s on the side of my head to get my attention so that I could veer my path from this mentality of get, and, you know, what's in it for me, to more of a mentality of what can I give the world? What can I do to impact other people's lives in a positive way that makes a difference?
And you do that, Phil Dugas, in a powerful way. I have had the blessed opportunity to be coached by you, and a profound life coach. We did it through the work of Byron Katie. And if you do have an opportunity to get to coach with Phil Dugas, you are a very fortunate person. He's a powerful coach, life coach, and I'm sure with the Mary Moore. And he walks his talk, and he's a living embodiment of what he talks about. You are an abundant person. You have traveled. I mean, to go to India, the amount of times you have going through those programs, and as well as the Mary Morrissey programs, you've gone to the highest levels, and traveling to Bali. I mean, he lives an abundant life. He embodies his message. Read his book, because he's not someone that's just all talk. He walks his talk powerfully and eloquently.
Well, in regards to India, I've been there 6 times, and each time they have a place out there called Oneness University, and it's a spiritual center of learning, and they do 10 different yogas there. And the primary purpose of these 10 different yogas is to basically hoover you out. You know, we have these chakras, these 7 energy centers in the body, call them whatever you want. They're there. And so what's very cool about this that is happening, like with this book, is that there's awareness that they have out there, that when we clear these energy centers out, the natural state of the normal human being is abundance. Our natural state is joy. Our natural state is love. And the only thing preventing us from an awareness of that is blockages that oftentimes are ancestral. A lot of the work I've been doing, because I've had alcoholism on both sides of my family, is doing a lot of work on behalf of my ancestors, because in the concept of oneness, they are very much a part of us. So when we heal up all of what's there to be healed, and trust me, it will present itself. There's just like undoing kinks in a hose, in your garden hose. When you undo all those kinks, which when we have our energy systems unkinked, by doing this, the processes that the lighthouse is going to be focusing on, the natural result of that is unending flow. And so that's the intention, to allow people, and they know what is best for them in their own process, allow that to happen in a way that clears them out enough so that they can be the awesome gift that they've come here to be.
Thank you, Phil. It's just so powerful, because yes, as human beings, we all have our stuff, our little things, our belief systems, our wounds, and it's just about clearing those out. And I don't know anyone better that I can think of who could clear those out for people with all of your credentials and your trainings than Phil Dugas.
Well, basically what I do is just use what's effective and what gets results. And the same thing with my coaching. The reason why we put people through certain programs is my brother, I just talked to him this morning. And what's interesting about this too is that when you work on yourself, when you allow yourself to release whatever's there to be released in the form of old energy blocks, it affects everybody around you, especially your family. My mother and my brother have started reading Eckhart Tolle this last year. My brother this morning, when I was talking to him, wants to do the Dream Builder program. And so what ends up happening is that just like when you take a tuning fork and you hit that tuning fork, and it's at a very high vibration, you bring other tuning forks around it that are not hit at all, it automatically resonates at that same vibration as the one that you've hit. And so, you know, that's the cool thing about it, is it's such a win-win when we get into our own personal transformation. And a little side note with Byron Katie, there's like 3 businesses. I love that because I was so much out of my business. There's only our business, other people's business, and God's business. And when we get aware of what's our business and move into taking care of that, everything else around us automatically seems to just work itself out. It's when we interject ourselves into God's business and other people's business that we have a lot of drama in our life.
Wow, thank you, Phil. I have another question for you. I would love for you to share a little bit about your near-death experience when you were 17 years old.
Sure. That was a life-changing event for me. I was a teenage alcoholic, and so, my first drink at 14, I immediately crossed the line. Never had a social drink in my life. And so I was running a half a marathon in just south of Boston in August, very hot and humid day. And I had several beers before the race, which never a good idea. Put alcohol in your system on running a 13-mile race. And of course, I hadn't trained for it at all. And at the 12-mile mark, I ended up getting full-blown heat stroke. And I just happened to stumble and fall and pass out in front of my track coach's house. Oh. And his wife just happened to be looking out the window. This is at a time they didn't even have 911. And I found out later on, many years later, when I finally did talk to her, and she tells me this is just like yesterday this happened. She actually came out and sprinkled holy water on me and then put the bottle into my pocket. They must have taken it out at the hospital because I never got it. But when I went into that awareness of not being in my body anymore, what I experienced really can't even be put in words, but the best way I can describe it is absolute unconditional love, peace, and joy beyond human description. And what was really interesting about it is that experience seemed much more real than this one. Mm-hmm. This one is much more the dream than that one was. So at that time, I knew that there was so much more to me than what I thought my level of consciousness at that time, where drinking was my main mode of operation with dealing with life. And within a very short period of time after that experience, I ended up getting into a recovery program. My own father, who was already 5 years in that program, was my sponsor. And ever since then, I had a one-day slip at 21, almost died. And from that point on, I've been very committed to not having to use those kind of substances to deal with life. And what I've actually discovered, really interesting, is that those substances actually help those of us that carry those particular kind of energies. Because there's been many meetings I've gone to where people are grateful they've drank alcohol because it anesthetized themselves from a level of vibrational energy they were carrying within their bodies that, I know now that my ancestors on both sides of my family carried, that helped them to deal with it. But now it's like, okay, it's time to give all of that up. And as I heal myself, I notice that my ancestral line seems to be getting healed as well.
Wow. So how many years have you been sober?
After that one day slip, I'm going on 35 years.
35 years. Well, let's give him a clap for just that alone. Oh, my God. And, it is that alone for anybody who has dealt with that. You are a shining example of what a human being can be when they take it in their hands, they become sober and clean, and they start working towards their lives. You have your own company, you have your own business, you have a roofing business, a construction business. You're a contractor, right?
Yeah, general contractor.
General contractor. He's a very abundant human being, travels the world, helps people, has so many credentials. And I know that you probably would not be there if you had continued to drink.
Well, I wouldn't be here physically for sure, yeah. But the only thing I want to say about that, Bonnie, is that, there's a lot of people on the planet today struggling with substance abuse, in that there is a way out, that there is hope, and that it starts with just the willingness and desire to want something different, to want to actually clean up, and to want to actually have a life that is really stepping into the fuller version of what we are. And I know for me, when I was back there, I was just scared of what that version is. Mm-hmm. I was frightened to see the amount of love I have in my heart for the world, for people, and that we all have that. I mean, my near-death experience really showed me that is who and what we are at our essence. And so learning to see ourselves as a spiritual being having a human experience is a much more empowered way to come from than thinking I'm a human being needing to get something like spirituality.
Nice.
We already have it.
Yes.
It's already within us.
Absolutely. And I want to ask you just one more question. What drew you to the work of Byron Katie? Because I know you're a coach extraordinaire and help so many people.
Well, really quick, because I know these guys really want us to keep us on schedule with this. Byron Katie work is the most powerful modality to allow individuals to step out of their story, disempowering stories. And when we're able to do that, when we have the support to step out of our story, actually we see it in a three-dimensional way, we can choose to continue on in it or to make up a new story that is much more true with who we are.
Yes, and the example right here of this most extraordinary human being making such a powerful impact and difference in the world, and we're excited about the Lighthouse.
And as far as the
coming up.
Lighthouse goes, if you're interested in maybe participating in that, we're looking for people that practice very powerful transformational modalities. Go to www.visionsunlimited.co, not com, it's co at the end, visionsunlimited.co. So thank you for having me here, Bonnie. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, Phil, so much. We so appreciate you being here, and we're so honored. Thank you. Let's all give a hand of applause to Phil Dugas.